Black Rifle Coffee, baby. Freedom fuel.
The reason why I do it is like I like to be able to talk to different guys who do it because I've seen, especially guys like not so much PTSD is like such a fucking like complicated thing to talk about, right? But the like the brain damage you get from like the TBI from explosions and all that shit, like that causes like fucking real physical damage to your brain. And the Ibogaine has like been the best thing that we've got actual data on as far as like reestablishing connections from damage that can be caused from TBIs. And we've got that juxtaposed like from combat guys and dudes in the NFL. Yeah. Like that photo right there, that's when Jared went down to Mexico. And that big tall guy, he played for the Raiders and he had like really bad fucking brain damage. He was suicidal. And then he came back from that like completely changed human.
Yeah.
But you must have even just that one scenario gives it its worth, doesn't it really? I mean, that's a saver in it.
Yeah. Even if it was only that.
Yeah. And you literally feel like you have a new brain. Like you're like, what the fuck just happened? I mean, the days after are fucking horrible. You feel like
what was real, what wasn't real, where am I? Yeah, who am I?
Yeah, I've like in doing other things, like you kind of hallucinate, like you're closing your eyes and you see something, like you see stuff like that. With Ibogaine, like I watched this fucking panther crawl across the ceiling at me and like lick its tongue at me, and then I like passed the fuck out for like 24 hours.
Fucking hell.
It makes you wonder like what you're sitting, what.
Well, that's the other thing about why I really like it is because you come out of it like, what the fuck is life really like? What like are we like way more powerful than we give our fucking selves?
That's what they always talk about, like the opening up of the like interdimensional understanding, and like saw a guy who does DMT all the time, and he was talking about like angels, and he was like, it's just another dimension. We just don't get it. It's like trying to explain quantum physics to ants. Like we don't understand it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like generally, there's truth to every tale, right? So all these stories of anything, I wonder if it's just people they've seen this as that kind of stuff, and that's just how the story's gone.
Yeah.
Imagine taking an ant on an airplane and then taking it back to its colony.
I saw
it's like you're never going to guess what
you probably
happens,
see
and they're like, shut up.
About like higher powers.
That's a fucking really good analogy.
Yeah.
Right. Like how are you supposed to explain going to a different dimension to
exactly
right? Like it's a very difficult thing to do, but you're fucking happy that you went and did it, right? All right. Well, I am joined with Tom, Tip, and Sully, the pretty much like cast and crew of the new Sunray film that is now in digital demand. And Jess, I got to give you kudos and bravos on creating a movie that's just fucking awesome.
Thank you.
I'm going to be it's going to be difficult for me to not give away too much because like watching this film, it's one that you did all the things right. There's a fucking awesome hook at the beginning, and then you're just on this ride and time just washes away, and then it's not the standard ending. Like it's something that like really elicits emotional response out of it, and it feels like it's up to date, it's authentic, and it was done by people who lived a life that's indicative of creating something really unique and rare on that. And then getting to know you guys, it's fucking odd. Like you guys fucking did everything from what you kind of started to tell me. So like if you guys can just kind of speak to like how the fuck do you go from being Royal Marine Commandos to starring and creating a fucking movie?
Should start with the first one you did it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the old man first.
Yeah.
Oh man, come on. Peter Pan. Maybe not.
That gives me a question though. So like in the Marine Corps, we're like all the fucking old timers, like they're fucking salty. Like, do you guys have a term for that?
Yeah. Salty old sea dogs.
We are. Sweats. We call them sweats.
Sweats.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You're no sweat. If you're no sweat.
Yeah.
But then again, you always consider yourself, when you think potentially you are an old sweat, there's always an older sweat.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? No matter how, it's like, If you think you're quite hard, there's always somebody harder. If you think you're the oldest sweat, there's always a sweatier older one.
Yeah. There's like the opposite of sprog, which is new.
Yeah.
So you have sweats and sprogs.
Sprog is the new
Sprog,
guy?
yeah. So you got the sprogs are the new people, and then you have the sweats, the older one. And when you think you're getting towards the sweat stage, you're always a sprog to someone.
You're always a sprog to someone.
You're always a sprog to
And
someone.
generally it's him.
Yeah. He stormed the beaches of Normandy. You know?
Whoa.
In fact, I think he was over here actually. Yeah.
No, stop there. So I joined the Corps in the mid-80s and had that roller coaster, which again, we probably shared with so many American sort of brothers and sisters as well. So in that time, and I got to a stage where I was in a Commando unit and I was sitting in front of a computer screen and I had my reading glasses on and I thought, what if I had to sort of call a fire mission in and I'm in contact and I had to just wait until I get my reading glasses on to look at the map, do this, do that. I thought, it's time to do something else. Even though all I ever wanted to be was a Royal Marines Commando. I sort of, and that was it. That's what I want. That was my goal in life. But now I realized I had to do something else because sitting in front of a computer screen wasn't why I joined up. I joined up to play commandos, to be a commando. And I very luckily done that for most of my career. So sitting in front of a computer screen, I went, it's time to do something else. And what did I want to do? What was it for me? And then I look back on my career and the people I work with, and it was always about the stories, or as we call them, the dits. So, and it gets an old sea term. So if you're spinning a dit, means you're telling a story. And also I'm an Irishman, so Ireland's full of stories. So that background, I thought, it's about the stories. I'm going to be a storyteller. So I looked at creative writing, and in that department at the university, there was an actor training school called the Actors Wing. And then when I mapped across who we were, my life experience, I said, that's the way we tell stories. It's us, the story's in us. So we're performers. And also if you map across the military terminology, like we rehearse. When we're going on op, when we're doing a task or a mission, you rehearse. May not come out that way, but you rehearse. You're in a theatre of operations. Now I'm in a theatre on stage. Everything was just fusioning together. You're measured in the core on your performance. And and then you start looking at when you performed as a Marine on operations. There's so many times where you had to put on a facade or a character for real, looking at guys, inspiring them. And you're sort of like, we call it babbing your whack. You're shitting yourself just as much as they are, but you look them in the eye and you go, you trust me, we're going to be good today. And you think, like, that's probably the most important performance you'll ever do in your life. So for me, that's the way I'm going to tell my stories. And that was it. Done it, went, trained as an actor. Me as a 47-year-old with my young colleagues who were all between 18 and 23. And which was good for me because I always got roles to play. You always need a dad or a granddad or somebody. So I got a lot of time on stage as such, or in front of the camera when I was training. But yeah, I had a great time. But while I was training, one of the best things I'd done for my fusion back into reality in the world was to stay with the reserves, so I could live this world as an actor and performer, fusing back into society. But sometimes I needed to step in it, and just start swearing and shitting and giggling and farting with all these honking Marines, because I needed that, and that helped me. So that happened. Trained as an actor. I graduated in 2018, got involved with doing theatre work, stage work, done a national tour, performed at Edinburgh Festival, performed in Canada, and then COVID happened. Hit COVID, we all had to eat that shit burger and carry on, and I'm still doing it. So that was my story. That was quite brief for me, wasn't it?
That was brief, yeah. You did well there.
Was that a chuck-up?
Almost.
So how did you get to spinning the dits?
That's it.
Yeah.
Spinning the dits.
Spin those dits.
For Sunray, because you guys crowdfunded the film, which is like raising money these days is fucking super difficult, right? Like whether it's for a nonprofit or for a movie or whatever. So how did you get to this specific point to where you're like, we want to do this story, which evolved into Sunray, and then going through and funding it yourself and then getting into production? how did that fucking unfold in the first stage there?
So early doors, there was an initial concept. It was like one of the writers, Sam. He and I went out for a drink, and he was like, "Got this idea: 10-minute short video, YouTube, Royal Marines planning a robbery of a drug dealer, and it's just a constant 360 spin as they're talking, and then you see the background change as the waitress changes to the drug dealer, and he's caught on and kills them, and then it grew arms and legs and evolved forward. And with the crowdfunding, COVID happened, and it was sort of early COVID days, and he rang me and was like, "Have you seen the Robert Pattinson Batman trailer?" And I was like, yeah, it looks good. And he was like, "Well, they've done that with limited footage. They've done it just to keep their foot in the door and make sure production gets turned back on, and they basically raise interest. I've got this idea. We do this." And at this point, Dan and James, the directors and other writers, they were on board, and they were creating the magic, as Tip would say. And the idea of, we create an early trailer to gain interest, to get a footprint and start the trajectory, which really changed everything. Because then once we started to show that the audience were interested, then we could pull money from private investors, which really helped us. People like Black Onyx, a company owned by a former Royal Marine, and that changed a lot for us. But that's kind of how it was just the classic snowball. There wasn't a big script with a big budget from Hollywood and producers and all of that bullshit. It was, we just take every single little step ourselves to get ourselves to the location, which was fucking hard. Yeah. It was no joke.
So it's kind of just, this idea we have is pretty fucking badass. We're going to do this and then garner some attention on that. So
exactly.
After you guys filmed that little trailer, that was used for the primary crowdfunding means?
That's correct, yeah.
And that got you, did that kind of take off? Did that get you what you were looking for?
We beat our target within like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. People saw that. We gave them a sniff of the potential, because what we actually filmed, we filmed it on a weekend. We didn't really have a script that we were going on with for the Kickstarter, the crowdfund. We turned up, we knew we were going to just film some cool sequences, show people what we can do, what the potential is, and then if they want to support it, there's a wider story here that we can tell. And we thought, maybe we'll get, 10, 20 grand, we'll keep pushing, see what happens. It just blew past the target, like within weeks. People were posting it to their mates. I was military advising another film, and the director came up to me and was like, is this your film? And I was like, oh shit. Like it went out, people knew about it.
And that wasn't only in the veterans, that was in the industry wide. People were going, what's this? And it was the quality, I think, of what we were doing, but the way that the lads put that framework and harnessed it with digital filmmaking. There's a lot of talent there, between that little crux of a team who were filmmakers, former Marines, and they were incredible. And that was what I think hooked us in. I got a phone call, and it was just the old, "Hey Tip, and again, the connection between, I've got relatives or sons that are in the Corps, and Tom was actually with one of my sons in the same Commando unit. So we'd connected already because we'd been acting together. And then we had, so they sort of knew me, and I'd worked with them, a few people before in the team. And Sully, I worked with Sully, we worked together before. And then I just got, we want to do, we want to do something about our people. And that was it. I'm in. I'm an actor now. I'm in. It's about our people. And then we went through this process and it's worth even looking at the YouTube channel, in it, because when we all met together the first time, we'd done some images. The guys got the weapons out and everything, and we'd done the first sort of thing. So they're on the YouTube, and you can see us getting interviewed for the very first time and that. And we just the vibe and the energy in those rooms was incredible. We knew that there was some magic. When that little short trailer came out, we knew they could shoot really good shit. But when it came out, it was honestly, it was like it just hit with a sledge. But it did. It just went, and people were going, "Whoa, what is this?" And that was it. That momentum just went. The accelerator just went down, and it just went up like that.
Especially when you see from behind the scenes what we did for that trailer. We were the ones like running the booms. We were like running around getting batteries. It was so.
It's fucking Super Marine.
Yeah. Basically, it's that like, no, it doesn't work. Make it fucking work, and you're like, we'll make it work. And it was
covered in blood, and you're there booming in.
Yeah. it was what we call Bakshi, but we fucking made it work, and you see the magic that came from it, and what we got from it in the end was just incredible. And that again was a thing for me. I was like, fucking hell, imagine when we get the money, imagine when we get the funding, imagine how good this will be, and I hope the product, lives up to that.
I think that's what surprised people actually, because it looked like Hollywood had picked it up and pumped a load of money into it and pumped some filming crews and stuff, and it was like, no, we just did this with our own kit. And
people legitimately say to me, they're like, "Did you earn a lot of money from this film? You must have, that's Hollywood, like." And you're like, "No, it's not Hollywood. It was all us. It was, it's incredible."
But the foundation for the team, the creatives and the actors, that just was forged there. We developed it, and everything else has brought so many other actors in. But that team forged, and that mega sort of brings a smile on the face. The full memories we had on set, and you just look at each other, and obviously, because you know the school, you're a Marine as well, so the shits, the giggles, people giving abuse to each other continually, non-stop. We're going, yeah, I like this. This is our place.
Yeah. And it's really interesting the way that like American cinema has evolved over like, let's just start at we'll go back to the beginning, kind of with like John Wick, right? Yeah. Like when John Wick came out, like you saw stunt guys who kind of started to run the show. Like, we're just going to make a fucking action movie that's just fucking shoot them up in this new, like, kind of efficient tactical sense, but like you can tell that someone's got some weapons training within that, right? And then you kind of go across time to John Wick 4 and you're watching this movie, you're like, this is just so fucking unrealistic.
Yeah.
You fucking lost me in this.
Yeah.
And then you watch the opening scene of your guys' movie and you're like, no one is doing anything that they don't fucking need to do.
Yeah.
These guys obviously know what the fuck they're doing. And then you're just like intensely engaged in this. And from what the story kind of evolves into, that authenticity is just fucking locked in from the very beginning. And then kind of like, you guys have such a depth to this movie, and it's you kind of sell it with the tactical and these commandos coming in, but like what the movie is really kind of about is like mental health, like trying to fucking survive and thrive after you go through a career in combat, and overlaying those two things together, right? And the kind of the way that you juxtapose those two things, there's a scene with a therapist and snapping this band, and with every snap you're back into, which is an interesting way to present the film, but it also is a unique way to like throw the audience back into it. And like what I really wanted to ask you guys is like, how much of yourselves is in the fucking full script? Because obviously the short got you guys what you needed as far as fucking story, but then you had to write a fucking movie, right? Which is no small task. So like, how much of your guys' own personal experiences are like poured into this? And was it very conscious for you guys that you're like, we're gonna make something more than a fucking shoot 'em up movie?
Yeah, I'll probably go first. It's probably quickest and easiest. But so they would give me a script and they were like, this is the character. He's kind of like you, because I'm a bit of an asshole, which I enjoy.
A bit.
And I took a couple of my mates who I know, and I spoke to one when I've been out here, and I was like, don't forget that was kind of based on you. So if you think he's a bit of a prick, that's on you. But they gave me a script, and I would look at it, and I was like, okay, you want me to say that? I wouldn't really say that, so I'm going to say what I would say. So I basically just put me into it. From the experience side of thing of like, I think we all understood the depth of what we needed to achieve with it, and understood that each character needed to have their journey as well. Like, it isn't just the simple thing of we all do the same. And that transitional piece of what you were saying there with someone trying to survive, leaving the military to becoming a civilian again. Like, since we've been here, everyone we've spoke to has been exactly the same. Anyone who served, and you talk about, when you're no longer in, and everyone goes, yeah, it's fucking hard. We all know that one constant. But yeah, I think to answer it simply, I am my character. I am Sledge. I'm just to take the piss asshole. But
Yeah, except the mustache.
I know, that was real to begin with. I had it for a while, and then I got rid of it, and they had to keep putting it on artificially, which was fucking annoying. But But yeah.
Yeah, and like if for people like I guess like we, Tip, when you go, give us kind of the elevator pitch on the movie, but like you're the fucking dark humor guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like really, you're kind of the guy that's just fucking like when it gets super serious, like you're the one fucking cracking the joke that's not supposed to be fucking cracked.
Exactly.
And
We've
that-
all
I was
met
like,
them.
oh,
We've all
it's
met
so
them, haven't we?
fucking real.
So
Thank you.
real.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone's got them in their team, haven't they? You know?
Relieves the pressure.
They're,
So-
they're essential. They're essential for that.
100%.
Yeah.
You have to have that person
Exactly.
in there.
Part of our ethos in the Marines is cheerfulness in the face of adversity. And that is that character. That is that person. We all kind of have it enough, but there's always somebody who would just go too far.
Yeah.
You know, someone will say like, oh, one of my parents passed away, and they're like, why are you bringing the vibe down? And then you're like, fuck, you can't say that, but it's also really funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that was essential for the film as well. I think, and that's not me saying that I was essential, but I think that character existing in that realm where we are trying to keep a serious topic. What you don't want to do is just keep hitting people over the head with this topic. I think being able to pull it back, and especially for those who've served, to look at it and go, I know that guy. I know that kind of person. Yeah. He's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
I love him.
We like designed it's not even just, it's like the relationships between the characters as well, because
Exactly.
he's like he's almost not the opposite of my character, but they're the two that they're quite far, they're pretty different, but they're the two that they're always together, always doing stuff together. It's like the one who's all about morals. He's the one who's always breaking the morals, but somehow, as you know, in the military and serving, those are the guys who always end up being together. It doesn't make sense, but they kind of keep each other.
Yeah, it's very yin and yang.
Yeah.
Just like you kind of need each other to like fill that or to complete kind of the fucking ethos of what it takes to survive in
Even in the industry and comedy, in it, straight guy, funny guy, you know, all those yin and yang and the, you know, just way things happen. Like, you know, it's like a human vibe, you know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, my character is completely, to a certain level, his depth and background and service is very similar, I think, in a lot of ways. I think that is the way the character was developed. But there's a certain point where my character breaks and loses things coming back from operations. And I've seen it so many times, you know, more than normal for people that come back and lose everything, go through, become addicts, lose their family, lose what they have, everything in life because of, you know, the problems they're having inside their head, you know, those challenges. And that was, in a lot of ways, my character, Andy, up to a point was me, but there was a point where I was very, very lucky to have support to keep me on the straight and narrow. Because when we come back from one of my operations, we lost quite a lot of guys on it. And when I come back, because you're in a responsible position, a leader's position, you come back and when you come back and you've got a family, you become in a responsible sort of like you're a leader again. You're a dad, you're a father, you're a mother. It doesn't depend. You're back in a position of responsibility. And all I needed when I came back was a little sort of snapshot where the only person I had to care about was me, and I wanted to disappear on my motorbike, sit in a tent, drink a bottle of whiskey, look at the sea, and go, all I have to care about is me for just this little moment before getting back into being a responsible person again. And luckily, the people that I love sort of said, no, you've got to stay with us. And I stayed that way. So for me, that was my savior. You know what I mean? Emotional, I know, but that was where the character split between me and Andy didn't get that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's like, you guys were like so fucking calculated with like some of the way that you would present this through film, and you saying that like makes me think like a lot of your scenes, you're like, you have one beer and you've got a phone, right? And you're calculated. You're like, I need this fucking beer, but it's not a fucking empty bottle of Jack Daniels. You're like, I just need this to like get through this moment of reflection to decide what the fuck I'm gonna do. Yeah. And that scene like paints, like you get that guy's whole fucking framework of what's inside his head. Just like, I just need this fucking beer to like think through all the murdering that I'm about to go do, or like how do I do this, or like do I pick up a fucking nail gun or do I take a pistol to this fight, right? and like there's all these like subtle things, and that's why I think the American veteran culture and community should like go watch this movie, because there's so many different little things, and I think there's even like there's like a motivation to it too, to like see all of this hardship and like not feel the need to drown yourself in booze or like turn to something that is going to be addictive. Like there's still a fucking mission to go do. You just got to figure out what the fuck that is. And you can't do that if you're fucking hammered off your ass, you know? And you guys presented to that in a fucking super, super good way. But I feel like I've gotten ahead of myself a little bit because I'm just like so excited.
Sorry.
But like, will you just give like the fucking summary, the synopsis for like the fucking concept?
Go on, Tom.
Sure, go on,
Yeah.
Go on, Tom.
So synopsis, elevator pitch, and we follow Andy, who is a Royal Marine combat veteran, been a lifer, we call them, been in his whole life. He's done too many ops, seen too many of his friends die, and now he's come out and his life is kind of derailing. He doesn't know what to do anymore. His marriage has failed. He loves his kid, but she doesn't live with him. It's a lot of things we've seen before. But he's trying to do the best he can for his kid. And unfortunately, she ends up falling into a bad situation at a party, taking some bad drugs, which ends up not working out very well for her. And that pushes Andy over the edge. He's been kind of surviving on that minimum level, and it drops him below. When she dies, he feels that absolute need to find out what happened and who sold her the drugs and why this happened. And through going on that mission to find out that, he uncovers like a criminal underground that's doing way like sex trafficking, drugs, death, murder. It's like, and he just keeps going, just like military always do. We just keep going. He keeps uncovering more, and it just all unravels in his wake. His friends come to help him from his past. They come and assist, and I don't want to give too much away, but
it goes from there.
That's like
He needs his
can see.
team. He needs his team.
That's it.
He needs those people that he's shared the shit that he's going to go ahead and do. He needed the team that he knew he could trust. And those dynamics of that team, the psychological dynamics of the team, he needed that from the very, very dark, ruthless, even murder level things, which are inside probably every human being's head, to the morality of going, why you're doing it. It's for the good. It's for good things that there. So that spectrum, give him that support he gets from his team, he needed, and the team members just come and it all just goes.
Yeah, it's like, it's walking that line of like, we're not abiding by the rule of the courts, like we're abiding by the law of man, and that like you guys are just walking that fucking line the whole time. And some of the things I found really interesting within it as well, like some of the rules that you guys kind of had to play with it taking place in England, like the availability of weapons. Like it would be a different movie if it was made in the States, right? Because you would just have fucking tons and tons of guns, right? But like that's your guys' culture, and like the availability of those things is a little bit different. So you kind of had to find like creative workarounds for some of that stuff, which I think really added a depth to it, from the perspective of like, there's a scene with a fucking nail gun that's going through, and it's fucking really unique. I'm like, that probably wouldn't get made outside of like, the kind of Pulp Fiction where you're looking up at the shelf and like you kind of like, have to create opportunity from that specific scene and that opportunity there. But I guess I'm just curious how that kind of came to be in this writer session, and like you guys, I'm assuming, had kind of a rough outline on what you're doing, but then you get to sprinkle in like all these little things that you get to feel the personality with throughout it, right?
Well, it's like, with even just talking about the weapons and the nail gun, it's the extreme application of violence that comes from the military especially. And so we knew Andy and the team were going to bring that. And it's okay, where are we? We're in the UK. How would this come about then? You use what you've got, right? We all know we don't need a weapon. This will do in a shit situation. And so those scenes kind of grew organically in that way. And then we can play, how do we make this more interesting? That's when the characters come into it. How would each character want to do this? They would have talked about this before. Which personalities would have controlled that? And I think you even see it actually in several points in the movie, which personalities are kind of taking the forefront in that. And I think the nail guns, potentially a bit more of Sledge coming through there. And then you've got, the takedowns of the drug den, like you see in the first scene. That's probably a bit of Smudge coming through there. And then there's getting the weapons and talking to, interrogating some of the guys, which is a bit of Steve coming out there. Yeah.
But with it, it's the, because again, if you're from the United Kingdom or from the United Kingdom or Ireland, you look at the film, you're going, that could never ever happen. I'm going, of course, but maybe not. It would never happen because it's all inside. It's all mental health. It's the levels of, it's in there. So you don't even know if it's real or not. It's part of it, and that as a creative, that's the layers we wanted. It's that depth, like we were speaking about earlier on. It's everything inside a person's head. But those things, potentially, could that happen? Is it feasible for it to actually happen in the United Kingdom? Potentially not. But the fact is, it doesn't matter. It's all there. And it's those thoughts that we wanted to bring across. And that's, as an actor, that was really important to get that. The action scenes, we could have been doing that anywhere. Any operations around the world, that's our job. That's what we've done. But then when we get into being creative, we wanted to say that painting that picture, putting that footprint over society in the United Kingdom, it's not potentially there. But from what we've done or been part of, or on different things, it's a reality. You know what I mean? It's not that's an unreality, but it's bringing the reality into it, and that adds to the layers of mental challenges that people have to suffer, or veterans.
Yeah, and on the actual production and filming, I think I know the answer to this question, but did you guys have, were you working with any choreographers for the fight scenes or in the, the tactical choreography, so to speak, or was that just you guys sitting down okay, we got to get from A to B, here's how we're going to do it?
Clearing buildings and stuff, a lot of that was just, they'd be like, right, you're a 4-man team, this is your kit, this is your intel on the location, these are the threats, this is the threat level of the area, go clear that building. We'll sit in corners and we'll follow you around with the cameras, but there was no real need to choreograph a lot of that. It was just clear it as a 4-man team, as you would. A couple of the fight scenes, like hand-to-hand combat scenes, we had a choreographer come in just to make sure we don't kill each other.
Former Marine, stunts, former Marine, incredible man. So we like him. But again, all the stunts in there were us.
Yeah. There's no stuntmen in, covering for people. It was, when he's hanging out after that great fist fight that comes in, he is genuinely hanging out. He's like, that's real. That is real.
That was a proper full-on scrap. Yeah. And I got up and it was just, and the lads just kept rolling. And that was, and it was, I was absolutely blowing out of my sphincter muscle like that. And I had to move on. And in a way, you cherished it as well. And you got that little level of, I'm going to do some more of this. You know what I mean? It's that feeling, so I think it worked well.
It bleeds the reality into it, and I think it comes across. You can always tell when it's not quite real. There's, it's too clean. It added a nice bit of rough dirt into it. And
we didn't need you don't need a tactical advisor like you do, or military advisor like you do on set. We are the military advisors, which was literally the little bits and bobs, the little finicky points. A fight scene, you need to make sure that goes well make sure nobody gets properly hurt, but everything else was just.
Yeah, they'd be like, right, there's three guys are going to blow through that door. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to fire a few shots and then it'll get out of that corridor of death, try and hit another one, and I'm probably going to pull back. We're not going to stand there and have a super Hollywood dodging bullet. It's not going to happen. We're going to use cover. We're going to, take it when we can and transition drills and,
Yeah, and that wasn't saying that we didn't have to do the movie cheats, the camera cheats.
Right.
And because we were doing it sort of for reality, and the guys, we're all former Marines again, right guys, could you do this? And we sort of look at each other and go, well, we wouldn't actually do that for real, but going, but it looks good for the camera. We're going, okay, then we'll give you that one. So we run with it.
Yeah. Finding that happy medium. So it's still got to look decent in screen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so were you guys all on the same team in The Marines?
No.
Oh, really? You all met afterward?
Yeah, so you left just after I joined. 2013 you left?
I left,
2014?
2015.
2015, so I joined in 2012. So there's only like 3 years that we would have been in the same, but I worked with Tip briefly. And yeah, Steve, no. Dan and James, no.
I served with Tip's son. I went to Afghan with Tip's son.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, with same Commando unit.
I just come back from Afghanistan and they went out, and that was a hard one.
It was.
So that was what you were telling me about yesterday with that.
Yeah.
What did you say? That was like 2000 and...
That was 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
So 2011, I came back, and then my son went out in 2012, and it was quite heartbreaking because remember 2012, that's over 10 years since 9/11. And you know what you've been involved in after 9/11. But even me, I was on operations before 9/11, 15 years worth of operations before that happened. And then for your son to reach that age and go to that place, that was, it was very hard. And Tom was with him,
Yeah. And so is that kind of what kept you guys in touch over the years?
No, you got to tell how did we bump into each other?
I mean, so we were both working at Shakespeare's Globe, which is a very famous Shakespearean venue in the UK, doing Shakespeare, and we'd all turn up. I didn't know he was a bootneck. He didn't know I was a bootneck at this point. I knew his son really well, but we got on stage and we were doing our work, and then me and one of my friends, should we get a bootneck fart? And we're getting the photo of bootnecks on the stage at Shakespeare's Globe, and he was like, oh, I fucking knew it.
I was like, I knew you were Marines. I fucking knew it. And then it was the old, the name sort of thing. They were like going, oh. And then,
he said, I'm Tommy Roberts, and his son's called Tommy Roberts as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, the Royal Marines aren't a big organisation. I was like, I fucking know Tommy Roberts. Are you trying to say you're someone you're not? And he's like, that's my son. And I was like, oh shit.
Holy shit, man. That's pretty serendipitous.
Yeah.
That's wild. And so what year was that?
2018.
2018, yeah.
Okay. So
And the performance we'd done at Shakespeare's Globe was incredible. And we performed on the Sam Wanamaker stage with stuff that we'd created and written and fused in with Shakespeare. And we were given it to mark the 100 years since the ending of the First World War. And it was, we could hear the bells and that, didn't we? They were marking the 100 years. And then we're there on the River Thames doing this performance. And it was really powerful because in the Sam Wanamaker, you've got the candles blowing, there's 300 people, you're there right in the crucible of it, aren't you? People are all around you and you're giving this performance. And I think emotionally it was incredible, wasn't it? It was, such an experience. And there was just, people that we, in a way, just been introduced to people that had followed the same journey. A bit like coming out here, meeting all the guys from Black Rifle Coffee and the veterans and the filmmaking they're doing. It was a bit like a reunion, even though we didn't know each other type thing.
But ever since that production, almost every production I was in after that, I'd walk in the room and he'd be there and I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
we just been kind
that's
of
the best.
Yeah.
It feels so good. You guys are going through that. Someone
I think working together in the Marines, we were only 6,000.
Yeah,
From top to bottom, the UK Marines, and that's it. From the CGRM down to
really,
yeah. So and that's the thing from your guys' point of view, you're like, Jesus, that's no one, but we're so
it's like one regiment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we used to, so my squadron, we used to deploy maybe 18 of us from the boss down to the lads, and that was it. And we were just out the door constantly, and so we're used to working in small teams, and you don't really always bump into people around the rest of the corps. You could find someone. I went through a course recently in the last 2-3 years with a guy who passed out of training 2 weeks after me. We went to the same Commando unit. We then worked in the same places for 10 years and we never bumped into each other until we went on this course. And then we were like, fuck no, you were in the troop just after me. You were in a different company at 14. We never saw each other. And that's just the way it was. We were just passing ships in the night, So we're so used to that. You wouldn't spend a lot of time working with a lot of people when you're doing your job. You're just out working with your team, getting shit done and getting back.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not unheard of, even though there's only 6,000 of us. But strangely, you do still then know everybody in a weird way.
It's like cousins. It's like long lost cousins, You're just like, instantly, as soon as you get back together, you're like, oh, hello, oh, fucking hell, mate, how you doing? Like,
And like our core come from every corner of the United Kingdom and Ireland and the world, and Canada,
Canada,
South
New
Africa,
Zealand,
New Zealand,
Australia.
Australians. You know, we've even got a few US guys joined the core.
Yeah,
You know what I mean,
Fijians.
so Fijians. You know, we got we come from, and like our core has been like that since it was formed in 1664. We just attract the characters and miscreants from around the globe to come and do what we do. I quite love that.
God, you guys got 100 years on.
Yeah, I know. You guys. That's another again. That's one of those funny things.
Though. You guys born in a bar. And then how did you guys? So what was the fucking rendezvous that like got you together for the film?
It's got to be we did pre-filming for the trailer stuff. So we did like the imagery, all the stuff that you see on the posters, and that was pretty much the first
YouTube
time.
channel. That's worth seeing because that was our first little gathering. Interviews.
But it was just because we got the same mindsets. It's the Marine mindset. Like you can walk into a room with a guy you've never met, find out he's a Marine, and you'll be best friends within 5 minutes. My wife gets so fucking pissed off with it when I'll meet someone and she'll be like, "Why are you talking to that guy so much? He's a stranger." But bootneck.
But you know it. You can sense it when you're in a room. You're like going. It's like you aggregate towards each other, and you're obviously not going. You're a Marine, aren't you? You're a Royal Marine. And going, yeah, I could tell.
I had a guy once.
There's an energy or something.
Yeah, I was in a coffee shop and there's a guy. He's quite well known in the Corps. About 6'3", looks like a Viking, massive beard. He had a long plaited ponytail. Looks the most not Marine ever. And I just looked at him and I was like, he looked down at me, staring at him, and he was like, "You alright?" And I was like, "You a bootneck?" And he was like, "How the fuck do you know that?" And I was like, you say, it's an energy. I was like, and we became really good mates. And my wife was fuming about
Bootneck
that.
tactic.
So we ended up going on the piss. Yeah. Got a big,
Commando.
big Commando dagger. But yeah, that was the first time we met at that shoot, but we just instantly a team. It's like this is your team now, cool, and that was it. We just worked together, and we've been in comms ever since, haven't we? You know, we're
a team.
Friends.
Yeah. We are a team. Since this is a bizarre thing. This is our team after the core. You know, even though it's focused on one film, we're creatives. We work all around the place. But this is really, we'll know each other for the rest. Obviously, I've got not as many days as they have got to go, but we are. But it was wonderful, even though that small world in the core of the Marine thing with you guys, because we worked so much with you guys. We were sitting yesterday, we were shooting with you guys in Black Rifle Coffee, and Clint came in. Well, Clint, he goes, right. We started going about Marsoc, this and that. Next minute, we know the same people. One of them was the master guns on the Marsoc guys. He goes, I know him. And that next we were like taking a picture and sharing it with guys that I met 20 years ago that he knew. And you think that is a small world, isn't it? That is a very small world. You know what I mean? And what a character as well, and what he'd been through. He could have been one of us in our film. He could easily have been one of us. You know what I mean? Without a shadow of doubt.
Yeah.
It was lovely meeting him. It was really, really nice.
It's been great meeting everyone.
And that was like, that breaks all the barriers, but that's the Marine thing. You know, and even you said, salty sea dog, just little things. And we fused together quite, I think, eternally. Even though I think we actually did go to war with each other in 1812. I think it was the first time we saw US Marines and Marines fought against each other.
But then ever since then, we've been fighting wars together, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Working out. Okay.
Yeah.
We're fucking great. The men are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And so where are you guys at now? Like telling such a fucking big story. Are you guys trying to keep the momentum going with this? And do you have something that's kind of like itching at you to like follow on with this? Or are you guys going to go your separate ways for a little bit? Or
We definitely have the idea and the plans, and speaking to the guys here, we want to do a joint UK-US project for sure. If you've seen the film, I can't say too much about it, but disregard what's in the film. We're definitely going to do something together.
We need to work around
and that's exciting. But
we need to get the directors over. The former Royal Marines who created this, the magic behind the camera, Dan and James. They need to see what can be done, and I think they're writing stuff. They've got plans, and we're all creatives one way or another, so we can definitely do something. We're hungry to do something. What it looks like, don't know yet. It's very embryonic. But
it'll be really interesting there because then you'll add a new layer in of like that relationship between the UK and US guys and how we operate so well together, but there are slight differences, and I think that will come across really well. It's not just characters; it's like how you guys work and how we work, and how that complements each other.
I mean, even though, like I say, our team's set for life, but we're individually, we're actors now. I'm an actor. You've got fingers and pies. You're obviously auditioning. You're cracking on. You've got, you're still. I want to be an actor, so I want to be Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, or I want the full spectrum of comedy, of highs, of lows, of life. Maybe what I've lived, but also I want that in as a creative, as an actor, and as a creator. So I'm working on a play at the minute about a bunch of people, a bunch of my friends that died when we invaded on a helicopter crash when we went into Iraq. But it's important to feed your creative spirit, but try and remember the people that can't do what we're doing now. So we're always working. All of us are on different projects, fingers and pies everywhere, in different businesses and everything. Yeah. But we'll always stay in touch, because there's always a fart joke. There's always something that we'll all go, I think the lads need to know this. And you said it.
Yeah. And we'll tell everybody where to go, or where you guys would prefer that they go to watch the movie and all that stuff.
We've got Amazon, Apple TV. I think it's on Hulu as well, right?
Virgin, Sky. Fandango.
I think it's on YouTube. You can find it anyway. If you Google it,
we have no preference.
It's pretty much on every single streaming platform. And
just watch it.
Don't
care where.
We love our cousins from across the pond to have a look at it, fathom, get it, especially our veterans and Blue Lights and everybody else, just to look at it and go, yeah, I get that, and maybe give it a rating or just give it a genuine right, this is what feedback, because that's important for us as well, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, congrats on getting it done. Fucking work of art, and I'm looking forward to see what comes next.
Thank you for having us as well. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Sweet.
Cheers, brother.
Go ahead.